By the time I was graduating with my BSc in Economics, BSc in Applied Accounting from Oxford Brookes University, and also membership of Association of Chartered Certified Accountants UK. I remember when, for the first time, I failed mathematics. And I told my mom, I told her that they changed their math teacher and things just didn't add up anymore. So she said that, can you find out if the other teacher you liked can take you in private class? And she said she's happy to do it. During break, I go to meet her. She lectures me privately and my grades went back up. Things happened, but then it's your reaction, how you address the issue that really matter, not really what happened at that point in time.
Why do you take mentoring and developing the next generation as an important thing with the many things you're already doing?
My life is too small to be the purpose of my life. I'm here so that I can be of benefit.
If we were to storify your life today, Abiodun, what chapter of your story do you think has shaped the leader that you are today?
I will just answer that in one word.
Tell me.
Jesus.
At Storified Africa, we believe that behind every success, there is a story. My guest today, Abiodun Mamora. She's a seasoned finance executive, board director, and strategic advisor with over 16 years of experience across corporate finance, investment strategy, and business transformation. She has served as CFO across multiple organizations, helping businesses to strengthen their financial performance, unlock new revenue streams, and build structures for sustainable growth. Beyond the boardroom, Abiodun advises startups and leadership teams. She's also a mentor to many. She's deeply passionate about developing the next generation of leaders. She holds a BSc in Economics from Olabisi Onabanjo University, Nigeria, and she earned a first-class degree in accounting from Oxford Brookes University, UK. Abiodun is a fellow of ACCA and has completed her executive education at Lagos Business School, Imperial College Business School London, and INSEAD, Paris. She's happily married, she enjoys reading, and loves singing. Welcome to Storified Africa, Abiodun.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so to start this conversation, Abiodun, I'd like us to go back in time. When you look at your journey, were there moments, or what are some of those moments that led you to the Abiodun who is sitting right in front of me today?
That's a big question.
I know.
You want us to unpack all that?
I mean, this is the heart behind Storified Africa, because we see all the successes. What we see today is mainly the success. But behind the success, there are lots of stories.
Thank you so much. A lot of things have actually happened over the years. And
Imagine.
I'll just touch on 2, 3.
Okay.
Just so that, we have a sense. So first of all, I would say I grew up in a family where study was taken seriously.
Oh, okay.
So you had to do your best. I remember when, for the first time, I failed mathematics. The teacher actually beat us. So that was the first time, because math actually is one of my best subjects.
Oh, and you failed it.
So I failed. I think I was in excess 1 or 2. So I failed it in a particular term. And then we were called out and we were beaten. What? So that experience stuck with me. So I got back home and I told my mom that I failed maths and I didn't like it. So she asked me that, so what's the issue? So I told her that they changed their math teacher at that particular
All right, I see.
And things just, didn't add up anymore. Because the subject I used to like, I wasn't now giving it that much effort. So she said that, can you find out if the other teacher you liked can take you in private class?
Oh, nice.
So I went back to school. I met the other teacher that was taking us before. And she said she's happy to do it.
No, great.
So my mom have an aunt in school that is also a teacher. So she went with me, negotiated, told my mom what the bill would be. And then during break, I go to meet her. She lectures me privately. And my grades, went back up.
Great.
So that experience taught me something, that things happen, but then it's your reaction, how you address the issue that really matter, not really what happened at that point in time. So you could actually take control rather than just, fold hands and say, yeah, this has happened to me. I don't know why my grades are sliding. Maybe that's how it's meant to be. Sometimes we have a way of explaining things to suit your comfort.
Yeah.
But then I put in the extra work with the support of my mom, and my grades went back up. And I remember when I was graduating, I did my WAEC, my mathematics was right up there.
Great.
And I was one of the best graduating students in Our Lady of Apostles.
So this was secondary school.
Secondary school.
I like, interesting. I like how you have started with even a story where you had failed, because it's one of the things that we try to spotlight as well, that the success we see today, there's been some of us, we've experienced several failures along the journey. It is part of the journey. But today, did you realize at that time when you failed and you had to go through this corrective with the support of your mom and your family and the teacher, did you realize how important that was at that time? Or looking back in your journey, how important was that experience for you, and how do you apply it to other aspects?
I didn't realize it was going to be a defining moment, but I knew that I didn't want to settle for that reality.
Yeah.
I wanted something different.
Okay.
So, subsequently, it's really helped, because I just go back to that same playbook and say, well, this has happened. This is not the result I desire. What can I do to change that narrative? And it's helped me a couple of times.
Okay, that's interesting. And it was really good that you had support. You had people that could show you that this is not you.
Yeah.
One incident or one experience is actually not you, and you didn't have to settle for that. I think that is perfect. So these are like elementals, having elementals in life. But in your early experiences, did you have mentors growing up?
Mentors growing up?
Or maybe in university?
Well, yeah.
Or role models, people you looked up to?
Yeah, I would say yes, actually. One of my big mentor, or one of my role models, is actually my mom.
Oh, awesome.
Because she used to tell us stories, when she started her career, how people, used to look up to her. Mm-hmm. And she was one of the first female that drove a car back home then.
Really? Okay.
So she said when she bought her car, people would line up and then be cheering her on like, go for it. So those stories are so inspiring. And yes, she gave her best to her career, rose to the very top of her career in civil service. So every time I look at her, I draw a lot of inspiration, especially in the society that makes you, feel as a female, you're not supposed to, rise to the very top. So looking at her rose to the very top of her career really inspired me. And then I had teachers also that helped me along the way. I remember when I did my first JAMB, I didn't make the cutoff, even though my grades were good. I didn't make the cutoff, and so I just said I was going to enroll the next year. Like I'm taking it. I'll do it again. And then one of my teachers called me to say, "You're my best student in accounting. Why don't you start ATS? Like you have a very fantastic WAEC result. That's all you need to start your 8 years, and then you can grow into becoming a chartered accountant. I never knew that was possible, but...
And this was in university?
This was in secondary school.
Secondary school?
Just after my WAEC, you know, after I mean, my first JAM didn't quite meet the cutoff. So I was, you know, putting my effort into writing the next JAM. And then he introduced me to 8 years. So I enrolled. I told my parents, and then they encouraged me like, okay, go ahead. So I enrolled for 8 years. And then I wrote the first level I passed. Everyone was so excited. Like, okay, go for it. I wrote the second one, I passed. And then by the time I did the second one, I'd gained admission.
Okay.
So the natural thing was to stop doing that and then just focus on the undergraduate studies. But I said I wanted to finish it, and my parents encouraged me and said, okay, finish it. And then I wrote ATS 3, I passed, and it was as if, okay, you can stop there and then focus on your undergraduate studies. Okay. But one of my teachers encouraged me again and said, why don't you continue your professional qualification? You can do it with your undergraduate studies. You know, you have the, you know, energy to read and all that. You might as well combine the two. So I went back to my parents. I told them I want to combine the two. They're like, okay, if you're ready to do it, we'll support you.
Oh, wow.
So all through my undergraduate studies, I was doing my ACCA, because after I finished 8 years, rather than continue with ICANN, I switched to ACCA, and then I continued.
Okay.
And by the time I was graduating, I'd finished.
Oh, great. That's I love that. Oh, by the way, what's ATS?
Accounting Technician Scheme. That's like senior ICANN, kind of.
Okay, I see. Okay. And so from secondary school, you had been introduced. Interesting. It's actually one of the things that we try to do in Storified Africa, to show people, especially the younger generation, that whatever thing they want to do, it's possible. Yeah. We show them people that have done that thing. But in your case, there was maybe not someone that had done it, but you had teachers, that believed in you, that you can do it, and you gave it a try, and you did it. And today it's so we say today, nobody had the idea that, okay, this was some of the part of your journey. Yeah. So I really like that you touching on that. So I was also wondering if you can connect your journey, how you made that path from, you've already touched on doing accounting as a subject, but you made that path transitioning from, you have made the connection from secondary school to university, then from university, how you transitioned from your accounting degree into the corporate world.
Wow. So just reflecting now brings, back those memories. I'm just so grateful. So after graduated, by the time I was graduating with my BSc in economics, BSc in applied accounting from Oxford University, and also membership of Association of Chartered Certified Accountant, UK. So it's like 3-edged sword, going into the market.
Yeah.
Included. So I started my career with my uncle, actually. So he's an ex PwC. And then he started his own consulting audit firm. So that was where I started. And even though we're just 3 in that organization, I knew that I could do a lot more. So my aspirations were always set high. But then I went through that process, and after about 7 months, I think I resigned. And the next job I took was also a defining moment, because it shaped me.
Why did you resign?
I resigned because, I said I had always wanted something bigger.
Okay.
So, but then at that point in time, I got a lecturing job to lecture SIMA. That's Chartered Institute of Management Accounting.
So you have been a lecturer too?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I was lecturing that professional exams. I was lecturing accounting and financial reporting and some other subject like that. And I was lecturing people that were senior management.
Already?
Yeah.
As a fresh graduate?
Yes. Was highly placed people that are looking, to, support their experience with professional qualification. So I was in the room lecturing highly placed professionals, senior management team, and I was interacting with them. They were challenging me, but then I was the one lecturing them.
And I'm sure you were learning from them too. Yeah.
And they were inspiring me because every time outside class we talk, they tell me what they're doing in their office. I'm like, okay, I'm aiming for the very top. So that really shaping my leadership ability, because these are all well-positioned people in their respective rights, and I was the one leading them at that point in time. So I needed to be, well-positioned to command that influence. And because I did that very early in my career, by the time I got back into accounting job, that leadership, that command of atmosphere, that ability to, set the pace went into that company with me. And I was quickly spotted by the chairman of the company. Also, and this is just me 2-3 years into my career. The chairman called me into a meeting and said, what does the head of department do? That's the head of accounts. I said, well, it does this, it does that. He said, well, can you do the job?
Just like that. Wow.
That's just barely 3 years into my career. Because of the way I carry myself, the diligence I, put in the work, commitment, you just notice that there's something different about this particular employee that even though I was junior, he was offering me the job of the head of department.
Wow. So I love that. And you took it.
I was too timid.
Excuse me.
I was so timid. I chickened out. I'm like,
you didn't accept the offer?
I said, well, I can do it, but I think I would need some support.
Oh, no.
He said, go and think about it and then come back to me. That was how I lost the job.
Really?
But then there was a lot of restructuring happening, and I was moved to head internal audit department. So I was acting head of internal audit. And there too, I displayed leadership qualities that was very impressive and got, commendation from the chairman before I moved on to another company.
Oh, so you didn't get to do the head role in this organization?
Wow. But by the time the next opportunity came calling, I was better prepared.
I can imagine. Oh my God. But that's really interesting that, at such a young level in your career, the chairman was seeing you already. Wow. Well done.
Thank you.
I like that. So, it's actually we seem to have even gone, a little bit ahead, because I was going to ask you that I've been following you for some time and I see you as a confident leader. So I wanted you to touch on how did you even grow to become this confident Abiodun that we all know today. No, what I didn't know was there was this, before the confident woman would say, there was this woman that had turned down a role because she thought she could not do it. And this is what we call today as imposter syndrome, isn't it? So maybe we can dwell a little bit on that, but just between when you turned down, you said no to that opportunity, and the next move you made at that moment in your life, after that saying no or turning down the opportunity, at that moment in your life, what was actually going on and how did you grow yourself to the next level?
So when that happened, I got back home and I shared the experience with my husband. Oh, no. And he was like, why didn't you tell him you can do it? I said, oh, I wish I could. I wanted to, but there was something pulling me to say, can you go from where you had to, that kind of height all of a sudden? So, but then I reflected and I thought about it. That, okay, what does my boss really do that I can't do? So subsequently, I was not paying attention to what was happening in the office. So I was gauging myself, to say, okay, what do they really do? How do they really command the atmosphere? What kind of responsibility do they do? And I started volunteering. Okay, can I help you with this? Can I help with that? Okay. Just so that I could, get closer to what happens in that space. And I remember after I left the company, I started also learning. I was learning and I was writing about becoming an effective CFO.
Okay.
I was learning, I was writing about, how to set up finance system, how to implement financial controls, how to help an organization, come up with finance strategy that helps to achieve the organization's objective. So I started reading around those topics. And at that point in time, I wasn't even aiming for like any big role like that because I still felt I was junior. When you look at CFO adverts those times, you see 15 to 20 years of experience.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It wasn't on my radar. I was just developing myself. And because I'd been very curious about what happens in this role and how the CFO role or the finance department as a unit contributes to business success, I was learning and I was writing.
Okay.
And at that time, I was aiming to get a senior accountant role, really. That was my next career target. But lo and behold, I saw one advert on a particular day, and it was for a CFO. And it says 5 years experience.
Okay.
And that really changed a lot of things for me. So I said, well, I can do this, because that time I was just barely 5 years into my career. So I applied. And then I went for the interview.
Nice.
And I got the job. Nice. And it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when I was doing those studying, reflecting, writing, it wasn't because I was aspiring to become a CFO at that time.
Yeah.
I was just curious, and I just wanted to learn more about how finance, helps an organization as an entity.
Fantastic. But I think you did a lot of preparation. The wisdom I picked from you now, after reflecting, you started asking questions. You asked the right questions. What does your boss even do? And you wanted to learn those things that the next level we're doing and how you can get closer to that level. So for me, I think that's a lot of wisdom. It's something that I think is an important lesson for young professionals that might be listening to us, that one of the ways you can actually accelerate to the top, as we learned from Abiodun today, is to get to even know what does your manager or your boss do. Because you never know. They might just someday call on you and delegate to you. It doesn't really have to happen like it happened to
You can
Abiodun.
even offer.
Yeah.
You can offer to help.
Exactly. Yeah.
Make yourself available.
Yeah. I agree. Because these people making decisions, they don't even know what is on our heads, right? So if you don't speak up, nobody's going to advocate for you more than you advocate for yourself. So I like that you touched on that. Thank you very much. So that was how your journey as a CFO started. Interesting. So, at this point, I would like us to dwell on the office of the CFO, or maybe touch it a little bit, because we want to make this conversation accessible to a wider audience. It's possible that we have a few persons that might be asking, what does the CFO do? Who are they in the organization? You've been a CFO for like 9 years now. So can you please tell us, who is the CFO?
Wow, what a question. So I assumed my first CFO role in 2016. And of
That's
course,
10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh, so.
But then I'd done a lot of reading, studying. So I was getting into the role with a lot of, head knowledge. But then running an organization, it's always so dynamic because there's no way, no two organizations are the same. So you have to do a lot of customization, to be able to have the perfect fit. So joining that organization taught me a lot of things. And thankfully, I had a young and vibrant CEO also. So that combination really worked perfectly. And that was
CEO, young CFO.
Young CFO. So we're just like, yes, let's get this going. We crafted the strategy. We were able to diagnose the organization. Okay, this is what is happening. And that, for me, is the first thing a CFO should do. You have to do proper diagnosis. It's just that when you make consultation with a medical doctor, they don't just start treating you.
Correct.
They have to run tests, to really know where is the problem, what is it.
That's true.
Before they now start making prescriptions. And that's the same thing with CFO, because every organization is in a different stage of growth, different climate, different industry. So you have to be able to discern where this company is and what the issues are. And then when you get that figured out, then you cannot craft a strategy. So the strategy is to help the organization move from wherever it is to a desirable place. But then that desirable place, you don't set it in isolation, because finance is there to aid the organization in achieving its set objective. So finance does not exist in isolation. So it's to understand the business objective. Where do we want to go as a business? How do we create value as a business? Then the finance strategy is now to aid the organization in achieving that objective that set it apart from its competitors. So that is what I believe CFOs do. And in crafting that strategy, you have to consider a lot of things. The microeconomy, the macroeconomy, you look at trends, you look at, what is happening, what competitors are doing, you look at the supply chain, and then you also look internally, what's the composition of the human resource, what other resources do you have in terms of assets, in terms of physical assets, financial assets, or instruments, and then all of that can now be juggled in such a way that it produces the desired results. So that juggling part is really where the game really is. But if you don't understand what I described earlier, you can really be on the road and be doing a lot of work, but then the outcome isn't the desired result. So understanding the business environment, understanding the macroeconomics, understanding the business objective helps to create the right foundation for finance strategy and aids the work of a CFO.
Wow. I just took lessons for CFO 101. So, and I forgot to mention CFO is Chief Financial Officer. Yeah, so Chief Financial Officer. So that is a lot of work for the CFO. So when next I see my CFO, I would respect them more. I had no idea, because this office has to understand the entire business. But in your own case, I know you have touched a bit on how you moved to this first job as a CFO. In terms of, so for someone who might be aspiring, a young person out there, he or she is studying accounting or business and finance or whatever subject, economics, and they are in their minds that someday they can grow to become a CFO. CFO, I believe, is like the top of that cadre in the finance department of an organization, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So, so for a young person or even an early career or mid-career that has that aspiration that someday they can become a CFO of their organization or whatever organization they join later on, are there some tips that you can share to help them better prepare?
Of course.
Please.
To share.
Thank you.
So I would say that the first thing that comes to mind in terms of preparation is it's give yourself to studying. And this is not just like the classroom, textbook studying. Help yourself with news material, with magazines. Expose yourself to what is happening, not just within the country, but also internationally, because that's the way the whole world is connected now. And you cannot be a finance professional without understanding how that whole connection happens. So you have to expose yourself to, wide source of material, just so that you could have, that accumulation of knowledge that is required to now effectively lead in that space. So rather than just confine yourself to finance, learn about supply chain also. Read about, supply chain disruption, what's happening with, input substitution in some industries, what's happening with, what's happening with human resource, what's happening with talent mobility, because all of those things, have a way of helping to shape the way you become. And it is your becoming that can become very beneficial to any organization. So read widely. Finance material, definitely, but also other materials that gives you a wide perspective, wide understanding of how the world runs. And then if you're in an organization and you're aspiring to grow, also understand the why of the business. Because, I interact with so many people. I remember one of the companies where I worked, during lunch, we gather at the table and then there's always this lamentation. They have not increased our salary. The management are not mindful of us. We are the one working,
Monkey the walk.
that kind of thing. And every day the discussion is the same. And at some point in time, I just had to tap myself that, how come we're not saying anything progressive? We're just complaining and complaining and complaining. And I said I was not going to be part of that complaint anymore. I wanted to know why the company was not performing, why salaries have not been increased, why, every time we hear performance reports, it is underperformance. What is the why?
And you were a CFO in this organization?
No, I was
not
just
yet.
Entry level. I was just 2 years into my career. So I was just an account executive at that time.
All right. Okay.
So if you're aspiring to grow, don't join the bandwagon of, complaining. Understand the why. Because the moment you understand the why, you will start behaving differently. You would want to solve those problems rather than be part of, the problem.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wasn't going to complain anymore, but I was going to understand. And I realized that the company had inventory issues. Their warehousing, infrastructure was very weak. So by the time I became acting head of audit at that same company, those things that I learned while others were complaining, those were the places I was now, putting attention to try and strengthen the systems, strengthen the processes so the company's performance can improve. And when company performance improves, everyone benefits.
Yes, yeah. I like that because you come from the angle of the problem solver. And that way you are also making yourself visible. And truly, when management or leadership is looking for people to promote, of course, it's a problem solver they're going to promote. So I like that you touched on that. And again, it's also beyond even the promotion. It helps, I believe, this is my belief, that having solved a problem for an organization, it builds your confidence.
That's it.
Yeah. Because you have seen a challenge, you handled a challenge. And when you go for job interviews, it's even you have a story, you have something to tell them that there was this, there was that.
Tell your story. And everybody will want to listen to you and say, we need that candidate.
So thank you very much. I really love this. So this is, I think this is more applicable for someone who's already gotten a job. how about that student? Probably just still in university, and they hope that someday they can even make it to the very top of their finance career. Any specific tips for them?
Well, so for a student, I would say there's this popular verse that comes to mind: whatever your hand finds to do it well. So if you're studying, then study well. Give it your best.
Okay.
Don't just, do it, with half mind and then say, I'll get away with it. So, because I interact with students a lot, and I know, sometimes you just do the barest minimum because, it's just to pass. After I pass, that's all. But then that same attitude is what you're going to take into the workplace. I just do the minimum. And then managers are not looking to promote the ones that are doing just the minimum.
Sure.
They want people that are doing a lot, more than is expected. So even in your study, do more than is expected. Put in that extra effort. If your colleagues or if your other students are studying for 2 hours, you do 3 hours. And aside from the study, because I said earlier that you need to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
Volunteer for leadership opportunities. So if there is, let's say, a group, a social club, volunteer. Don't just lock yourself in the room and say, all I'm doing is just read this textbook and pass my exams. That's all.
Yeah.
No. Volunteer. If there's a social club, if there's a sport club, do these things. It helps to widen your horizon.
Yeah.
And, give you bigger exposure beyond what the textbook would do. And you need that wide exposure to be an effective leader.
True. And it also helps with soft skills.
Yes, you grow your soft skills.
Yeah. I mean, this generation,
teamwork, communication,
networking. Yeah, I agree. But so you have actually touched a lot on read wide, go out there and know what is happening. We live in a world where there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But it seems sometimes it can be information overload. Yeah. So I was wondering, are there really like specific areas, maybe not for students because they are still like early in their careers, but for someone who is already on the path in their careers, like some archives or repositories that they can find some of this useful information, or maybe some things that helped you.
Professional journals really helps. And if they belong to a professional association, every now and then, journals are published, or maybe they might even have magazines. Just take time, because as much as possible, they also touch on varying topics.
Yeah.
So it helps to expose your mind. And then if there's not something that catches your attention, you can now go online and then just learn more, read more, just so that you can gain more, like, deeper insight. And then you can take online courses. I do that a lot randomly. Just go on Coursera.
You still do
that? Yes, I still do.
So there's always learning
something. And then just go and take a course. Even if it's just the first module you would do. But then you've taken in something that will not leave you in a long while. So read news, listen to what's happening there. Of course, magazines, always a good place to get, diversified knowledge.
I think LinkedIn too is
very rich. Yes,
because there are people that, someone can search out someone like you, right, and follow you on LinkedIn.
A lot of content.
Yeah, I see you do a lot of writing. Yeah, so maybe you can touch on that a little bit.
Wow. How did I start writing? Well, I started writing way back, really. I remember after I graduated, after I graduated, because about that time I met my husband. We're just getting to know each other. And then he says that...
You didn't meet him to write it?
No.
Okay.
Well,
story for another day.
I met him in the library. I know you'll be surprised.
Confirmed booking. I see.
So, but then he introduced me to a newspaper. I think it's Financial Standard or something. He said, you could write, you're a professional, you're a chartered accountant, come up with something that he has contacts in that newspaper, the editor, that he could, put it out there and then have it published. I said, really? So I went back and then I dusted my notes, and the topic I wrote on was organizational efficiency management. This was me, fresh graduate. And then I talked about input, output, how to measure your efficiency, how to do more with less and all that, and that organizations should pay attention to this. And that way they can actually create more value. And the editor looked at it and said, brilliant, brilliant. And they published it, really. That was 2008. So I've been writing since way back.
As you're sharing, I was just asking myself, was a time where there was no chat GPT.
No, of course not.
If it's today, we say, okay, maybe she has used AI to support the writing.
Pen and paper.
Your first article, it was accepted by a publisher. That's impressive. I like that. And I like the fact that you took that as a challenge and you pursued it.
Yeah.
Time might not allow us to talk a lot on the journey, the full journey, but here I am wondering, there was the Abiodun that turned down a position to the one that, takes challenges, accept something as a new challenge, and I want to do it, and she does it, and it comes out, really great, and people notice, so that's really impressive. But so I guess people can follow you. You still write today. I
still post. I still post on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Any other place that you share your
current
wisdom?
No. I think all of my content is on LinkedIn.
Okay. So for those that would like to know more, do you mind for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, Abiodun Mamora, you can always connect. I'm happy to accept connection.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love that. So we would to take this discussion a little bit further. I also know you as a mentor to many people. And this is one of the things that drew us closer, right? Beyond INSEAD. So I would like to check with you, why has this really been an important thing for you? Why do you take mentoring and developing the next generation as an important thing that you do with the many things you're already doing?
I would say I learned the hard way. And thankfully, I had leaders that, did the course correction for me. So while I was growing up, I remember joining an organization and doing a lot to understand the system and to solve problems. So it was like I did it by myself. So when newer employees were coming on board, my attitude was like, well, no one taught me this thing. So you also have to learn by yourself. Like, I learned this thing by myself. So you don't expect me to just, give it to you like that. You have to learn also this software way that I suffered. But then I remember I attended Daystar. Yeah. And my pastor used to say that we're leaders. And one of his key mission is actually to help us develop our leadership potential. And very often he used to say that leaders give, that you don't, because you learn this hard way, that doesn't mean every other person had to pay that same price. You had paid the price already. So why don't you just, help the younger ones and then give them a smoother ride? That way you feel more fulfilled. And it's a higher way of living than just, doing the tit for tat kind of thing. So haven't exposed myself to those kind of preaching and all that. I began to change, and then I began to look at younger ones as, opportunity to make life, more comfortable. All that I've learned to make, to pass it on so that their journey can actually be smoother.
Yes, true.
And that gives me a lot of fulfillment.
Yeah, true.
So now I devote, even on the job, I go out of my way to ensure that when new people join, they enjoy a very smooth ride.
Even as a CFO, you come to the level of the young,
even to the level of intern.
Oh, great. Interesting.
I remember there's a young girl that joined an organization where I first led as CFO. She came in as post NYS, a fresh graduate. And till today, she calls me a mentor. She picked it from me. I challenged her. I showed her a lot of things. And she's flying there. So I picked interest in younger people. And it's not just for the sake of, mentoring. It's actually to help them achieve way more than I've achieved.
Oh, I like that. You help them achieve way more than you have achieved. That comes from someone that, it's not, how to say, you are not threatened by the success of the next person. That's lovely.
There's a saying that the sky,
it's big enough.
It's big enough for all the birds to fly. So why compete? Why,
True.
So, and then knowing fully well, we are contributor. Why don't you become that help that, enhances people's potential, people's value, and help them to become a better version of themselves?
Great. So just for maybe someone out there listening to you, really, I like to mentor people. I like to be a support to, some other persons out there, but they might not know how to start because it happens to people. I have seen people say that to me. What advice would you give them? A great place to start from?
I would say, look around you. There are always people around us. Maybe your niece, your nephew. If you have kids, those are also talents that you need to groom. And then if you're a leader, if you're a manager, the people in your department, you can start with them. So there's always someone around you.
True.
That you can always, pour yourself into. And for me, it wasn't like I was doing it I was doing it like with full force. It was just subtle. I started, in a very subtle way. And it is taking interest in the young people that comes into the organization and helping them, challenging them, providing support for them, giving them tasks. And then they keep coming back and like, I didn't know I could do this.
I love that.
Nice. And then every time they come back, I say, I learned a lot. Great. When you first gave me this task, and I never knew I could do this much. And now I look back, I'm so grateful. Thank you. I'm like, wow, that's why we're here.
I like
so look around. There's always someone that you can, support. And then when you now want to do it, on a big scale, you cannot leverage on platforms, which is what I'm doing on LinkedIn, for instance, which is what we're doing here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you cannot leverage on platforms and now have wider reach. But then in starting, there are always people around.
Yeah, so thank you very much for bringing that out. Because in Storified Africa, we always say that the stories are everywhere. They live in our homes. They are in our offices. They are in our churches. They are just everywhere. It's just that we don't really have, a way to assess some of the stories. So people are everywhere that need to be shown the path. I tell the young people that I work with that even with AI, there are things that they still need a mentor. They need to see someone that has gone through the journey. So I like that you brought that out. There are people we can start from. You made it really practical and simple. It's not like you must have a structure to mentoring. Yeah, it can be everyday, simple ways of pouring into people around us. I like that. And also something I like to also touch on, maybe you might share if you've had the experience, because we give to gain. I mean, this is not an International Women's Day episode, but I particularly love the thing for this year, give to gain. When you mentor, you also gain something, but it's something they call reverse mentoring, right? Yeah. I don't know if you have one or two stories that you'd like to share in that part.
I've lectured before.
Yes, you said.
And every time you lecture, you actually get better. So I remember there is this particular topic I was struggling with. So I didn't have enough time to prepare before I went into the class. But confidence and all that, like when we get there, we'll figure it out. So we started the lecture. And as I was lecturing, the thing was opening up.
I can imagine.
And I was getting insights. And in my mind, I'm like, these people that are seated here, they wouldn't know that I'm just figuring it out. They would think I have it all put together. And that's the beauty of mentoring too. Because as you mentor, you're also doing personal reflection.
Yes.
And then you're figuring some things out and you're like, oh, how come I didn't know? So it's a lot that happens to you personally when you start giving out. And that's why for me, it's so fulfilling to be able to, pour out to others. I know I've organized webinars, the first one I wanted to organize was supposed to be a physical one. And that was when COVID happened and then there was lockdown. I had to get a refund because I'd paid for the all already.
Oh, no.
I had to get a refund and then I now went online. And sharing my experience with the people that attended that day helped me also. Because now I felt, okay, what more do I need to do so that I could influence more people? So it put a higher level of challenge on me. And then also helped me to, uncover deeper depths that I've not even experienced before.
True.
So it does a lot more for you when you start giving.
I like that. Thank you. The very first day you and I spoke on the phone, there was something you told me towards the end of our conversation. You said, I wrote it down, so I will read it verbatim. You said to me that your life is too small to be the purpose of your life. I don't know if you remember, I recall asking you, please, can you say that again? Because I was writing, And you said your life is too small to be the purpose of your life. Can you please unpack that a bit?
That quote is actually from my pastor.
That's very powerful.
It's Pastor Sam.
I see it as powerful.
Yeah.
Pastor Sam
Adeyemi. Yeah.
I see.
So he said it over and over and over, and it's just registered there. So what it means actually that we're not to live for just us. I am not to live for me. If my life is just for me, I mean, like it's so small. I mean, how many am I?
I know.
So like we live for others really. My life is too small to be the purpose of my life. I'm here so that I can be of benefit. Imagine I work in an organization. So the work that I do impacts so many lives. So it's not just the decisions that I make on a day-to-day impact, the trajectory of the organization that also impacts so many people.
True.
Even aside from families that are working, we have vendors, that are also supplying services. You have customers that are also deriving value from what you're doing in that organization. So it's a big ecosystem if you look at it.
Yeah.
And that's just decisions that are being made, by individuals in their respective roles, as it were. And the same thing, if you
we don't the cycle
it's families, society,
and that one decision, how it can impact other people. Sometimes we don't even think that way. So we take decisions, or we make, as leaders, we make decisions without even thinking what is the impact of this decision to the wider population, the bigger picture, beyond your team, beyond your immediate So environment. That's a good perspective to bring. Thank you very much. I mean, I have not seen it in this slide before, so I truly appreciate that you touched on that. So as we begin to wrap up, I would ask you this. We try to ask our guests this question. If we were to storify your life today, Abiodun, what chapter of your story do you think has shaped the leader that you are today, or has shaped you as a person, maybe beyond leadership, everything that you are today?
Wow. I will just answer that in one word.
Tell me.
Jesus. That's one person that changed everything. So, sometimes I just described your life is too small to be the purpose of your life. When you look at it that way, you understand that we didn't come here, I didn't set a target to be here by myself. It wasn't my making, right?
Yes.
I was born. It wasn't a goal that I set.
Yeah, true.
That brought me into this planet, as it were. So it was the decision that was taken by someone. And that someone is God, of course. So definitely he has plans, he has purposes. And the moment that I come in alignment with his plans and say, Lord, I want to, journey the journey that you have prepared, not the one that in my own estimation is the journey that I think I should be on, but really partnering with him to say, yeah, that plan that you prepared, that vision that you had before, deploying me into this planet, I'm interested in it. That point of, coming into that realization and partnering with God, that for me would be like that deciding moment. And of course, it culminated into me accepting Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and then, just submitting to him to say, let thy will be done. For me, that's what all this is about. So it's about living the life that God has pre-planned and just working with him every step of the way. And, every step, new things unfold, and then we move further, new things unfold. And it's just beautiful every day.
Yeah, true. Thank you for sharing that. So for our legacy question, if your story were to inspire the next generation, what is that one message you would hope they take away from your journey? That's the A part. Then the other part of it is someone dealing with failure or self-doubt. What would be that message that you would also hope that they take away from your journey that we talked about today?
So I would say that leadership is a journey. So there's never a time where you say you've arrived. When you were talking earlier, you said, okay, CFO is like the peak of a finance profession. Yeah, even though I quite agree, but then I also disagree.
Okay, tell me.
That you can't, for everyone, the journey differs.
Okay.
So some have, become CFO and they've the journey have ended there. But then some have become CFO and they've transitioned to other things.
It's true, right? Because you are still very young and you're a CFO. You've been a CFO for close to 10 years. So it makes sense.
So for everyone, the journey is different. So that's why I say leadership is a journey. And don't let anyone put a cap on your journey. Do you understand? Just follow that, that leading, that unveiling that keeps happening within you. And then every step of the way, you keep saying a bright new day, just go for it. Rather than say, oh, I've gotten to the peak, game over. The game is never over. That's the point I'm trying to make. So leadership is a journey. Wherever you are, keep aspiring, keep aiming, and keep moving, because there is still more that will be unveiled well ahead. And then in terms of encouraging someone that has experienced the failure,
struggling with failure or self-doubt.
Yeah, I would say that no season lasts forever. Yeah,
true.
That's also something I learned from my pastor. No season lasts forever. And even in our life experiences, we've seen it happen. That there's a time that you feel, oh, I don't want this to continue. It's taking too long. And then all of a sudden, everything changed. Another season. So sometimes you say, this work is too much, it's too much, it's too much. And then all of a sudden, you're like, I need more responsibilities.
Yeah.
I need more assignments. So no season lasts forever. And just like I started with, never take a failure as the final. I learned something recently that says, I just read it in passing, so I can't recollect verbatim now, but the essence of that says that failure is not the final. It's like part of the success journey. It's embedded in the success. So if you look at it and you put a full stop there, you're the one cheating yourself, really, because it's just a part of the success story. So if you keep pressing on, you're still going to achieve the success that you desire. Just like my mathematics failure that I did.
Yes.
So if I had taken it, just looking back now, so I come and like, I failed maths, I'm not good at math. And that's what you hear most people say, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at it. Meanwhile, there was just one occurrence. So why would you, summarize your life because of a particular occurrence? So you could actually just flip it and say, I'm going for it. What can I do differently this time? And I was able to reflect and found out that I didn't like the style of the teacher. The teacher have changed, and I wasn't really flowing with the style of the new teacher. And I went back to my old teacher, my grades went back up. Yeah. So it's just to reflect. So why am I where I am? What can I do differently? And then as you ask those questions, you will see a way, break out, and then you definitely come out of it.
Well, yeah,
and still become success.
I agree. Thank you very much. So you just corrected me that yes, you do not agree that the CFO office is the pinnacle of the finance career. Yeah, I mean, I agree with, because I'm just thinking that, look at, you are still very young. Yeah, you're a young lady. So it will be a disservice to say that you have reached the peak of your career.
You get it.
So on that note, what should we be expecting next from Abiodun Mamora?
Oh my God. That's a big question. I know I have so many things, running through my mind. And it's going to be unveiled as time goes by.
Okay.
But then
What you know?
I'm just saying that really, typically, we can't be put in a box because the box does not even exist in the first place. So as much as possible, it's just to open up and then embrace opportunities as they come. Yeah. And I see bigger and bigger opportunities come.
I love that. I love that. And I know that from you also sit on boards of companies. Yeah, maybe you might want to say one or two things, how for someone that some of us have got to level in our careers where we think that the next thing we like to do is to sit on boards. Yeah. Even what advice do you have for them?
Hey. Serving on board is actually an opportunity to also influence. Like we discussed, your life is too small to be the purpose of your life. Influence in a broader way beyond your immediate environment.
Yeah.
So you're able to also contribute to the growth, to the development of people, of organization, of society, depending on the nature of the board that you sit on. So for me, I started, as a CFO, you get to interact with the board very often because you have to present. They want to be sure that you're aligned. So there is always that constant interaction. But then I never really considered it as something I wanted to achieve until I was promoted in one of the organizations where I worked to the board as an executive director. And I get to sit on the board and make decisions with other board members. And that experience was also transformational because I realized that, when you make decisions in an organization, there are hierarchies.
Yes.
And even as a CFO, you're already powerful, as it were. But then sitting on the board is a lot of influence, and you can actually make decisions or influence decisions that, impact so many lives, as it were. So when I had that first experience, like, wow, this is awesome. So because I advise startups, I also, challenge them and help them to see the beauty of, having corporate governance and, having decisions that are made, collectively with set objectives clearly defined. And that has also helped those companies to grow and even grow beyond the aspiration of the CEO, as it were.
Yeah.
Because you can only see so far. Imagine when you're not leveraging the sight of so many people that have gone way ahead of you. You'll be able to go faster. You just accelerate your journey. So that's what it does. And I've witnessed and I've handled the benefit. And I believe, yes, this is something I also want to give my time more to so that, I can influence more people, help more organizations, accelerate their growth, and also contribute to the growth of our society, our nation, nations of the world.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love that. Thank you very much. So, so before we close, if we're to pass the mic and are there maybe one person that you would like to share their story, someone you have met, and you think, oh, this person's got an interesting story that could be beneficial. Is there someone in your mind? And
Well, I admire female executive a lot.
Great.
Like I told you, my mom, grew in her career and she rose to the very peak. And that really inspired me as a young child growing up. And I think we need more of those, role models for our young female children, especially. Of course, the male have so many figures out there they can draw inspiration from.
Maybe.
What do you think? But then for the female, it's like the options are they're limited. So showcasing more of those female executives. One person comes to mind because I've worked with her. I worked with her over 5 years in one of my previous organizations. Her name is Jamila Fani.
Jamila Fani.
Yes.
Okay.
She's the managing director of Hemani Kaiser.
Okay. Jamila Fani. I hope you hear us. We're coming for you.
She's so, devoted, committed, dedicated, and working in the engineering space as a woman, it's inspiring. And she commands a lot of influence, and she delivers.
Nice.
That combination of attributes is rare to find. And she keeps pushing the envelope. So I believe showcasing those kind of people inspire more people, especially in professions where you have, less women role model, will really encourage, younger girls looking to forge a profession in engineering, in those kind of spaces. I'm in finance, and finance is...
We have more women.
Yeah, it's open. But then it's a more reserved profession.
Yeah.
You don't have so much woman representation. So that's why she comes to mind.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that. So I pass the mic again. I was wondering, do you have any question for me? We'll end it there.
Well, in terms of questions, for me, I just like to understand people's motivation, because a lot of energy, effort has gone into this, right? And this is not the first session you're having. You've done several, and I'm sure you're still going to do a lot more. So what's your motivation like? Is there something that is like driving you? So you could share it to me. Nice.
It's simple. Behind every success, there's a story. As a young girl, I recall when I wanted to go to the university, I filled my JAMB form, and I filled petrochemical engineering. I didn't know what it was, but it looked like some fancy word, right? So I filled it, and my dad saw it, and I know we can't do, what's petrochemical engineering? I didn't even know what it was. Yeah, I ended up studying mechanical engineering. But at that time, I recall asking my mother that, can I even meet a mechanical engineer? Because when I said it to people that I wanted to go study mechanical engineering, and I mean, look at how big I am now. So
Can you
flashback to like 25 years ago. Yeah. This body, can you even turn a spanner? So what I thought mechanical engineering was about, based on what people were saying, was it's all about turning spanners, right? So I didn't really have a role model. I know I saw people that were successful, but not on this career path. I didn't even see a female engineer. It was that bad. Yeah. So they got a mechanical engineer. They found someone. He was a successful executive at the time. He was already a director in Guinness.
Okay.
Yeah. Here in Lagos. So thankfully he was around, and I had a word with him, like an hour as sit down with the man, and he opened my mind to countless opportunities that exist for mechanical engineering. And I was like, wow, So for me, the motivation, the reason why I do what I do today, it's simple. Because I wish and I hope, I long to see a world where younger people, they see someone that has walked the path. I have many stories that there are times that I had doubted that this is not even possible, but because I saw someone who had done it, it motivates me to say, oh, okay, this person can do it. It means I can do it too. So, and I still do that today. Sometimes when I'm looking for something and there's that aspirations in my mind, I go online, I start searching who is even doing something similar. So in summary, this is it for me. The opportunities, like you said before too, about your mentoring experience, the opportunities I didn't have growing up as a young person, I hope that others don't have to go through that longer journey. So that's what we're doing here in Storified Africa. And thank you very much, Abiodun. It's been a pleasure having this chat with you for 1 hour.
1 hour already.
Yeah, I know, right? We'll talk about 16 years, 20 years of work experience in 1 hour. So I appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I hope we'll do another session again.
Happy to always.
Thank you. Thank you very much.